beauties, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Today I wanted to kind of focus on a topic I hit on in my last video, and that was about having a little bit of difficulty or a little bit of a challenge with a perfume because I wasn't used to some of the notes in it. And for purposes of this video, anything I'm labeling as challenging is because it's something that I just haven't had a lot of exposure to, I'm not used to. It doesn't mean it's not a great scent. It doesn't mean, the composition on its own doesn't work well. Just for me, it might be something that I'm having a little bit of difficulty with and trying to work with in terms of my chemistry, my skin chemistry, or things that I've been used to. So starting off, I'm gonna start with another perfume from a Swiss Arabian because I've been having fun experimenting with some of their perfumes because they're very different. This is Sheila. And the key notes in this are rose, spices, woods, some patchouli. And based on what I read on Fragrantica, there is oud in this, though that is not listed as a note on the Swiss Arabian website or any sites that I've, looked at that may sell this. They're not listing oud, but given what I am learning about it and what I smelled from one of their other fragrances, it is in this. It's definitely in this, though it's toned down. And I have also learned that the ouds in the Swiss Arabian fragrances are westernized, meaning they're not as pure, not as hardcore, because I absolutely know I couldn't handle it because I'm having difficulty handling the westernized version because I'm not used to it. So for instance, when we want to look at the bottle, first of all, this is absolutely beautiful. Love pretty bottles. I don't know what this is, like ceramic, or I'm not sure, but it's super, super refined and pretty. I really like that. So a story about this really briefly, I tried it out for the first time yesterday, put it on to wear to work. And I said, I'm not sure if I should do this because this is a little bit strong. I don't have any meetings today, so I might be all right. But I have to think about the fact that I have to get to work and I'm on the metro, right? I'm around other people. So I'd sprayed this on my blouse, and then got on the train. So at that point, it had only been maybe 20 minutes between the time I sprayed it and was on the train, and had opened my jacket because it was a little bit hot outside at this point. So I get on the train and I can smell this very clearly, and I'm like, this is kind of strong. It's really pretty, but this is kind of strong. And so I sat behind a guy, and as I was walking around him to sit behind him, he went, you could tell he was smelling something, and he kind of looked back toward me, and I was like, here we go again. My fragrance is too strong. So I'm kind of closing my coat up and fixing my blouse, and I'm like, I shouldn't have worn this out. He didn't get up, he didn't move, so I was like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. But it was a lesson for me that I have to be aware of what I wear around other people. This might have been challenging for him. Granted, he might have been smelling something completely different, but I just have a feeling that when I walked by him, the sillage, the projection with this, it's strong. So I'm pretty sure he probably got hit in the nose with this. But I just have to be aware of other people when I'm wearing fragrances, especially if there's something, it's not typical, it's not a typical fragrance, it's not a typical American fragrance. I just have to be aware of other people in closed spaces. So challenge number one, Sheila from Swiss Arabian. Very pretty, but a little bit difficult for some folks. All right, number two is something that I love. This is Loukhoum by Cucumber Cherry. Have loved this for years since I first smelled it. But with that said, this is also very strong, and it can be difficult for some people, as I also learned through a metro experience. The notes in this, the key notes in this, hawthorn blossom, Bulgarian rose absolute, vanilla almond, benzoin. It can smell a little bit oily, like baby powder sweet oily with almond and vanilla. I love it. I could bathe in this, but not everybody likes this. So I was on the train, this was some years ago, and sat next to a woman, and she was in the window seat, and she just got hit with this because I had it on my blouse also. She's like, your perfume is so strong. And that kind of threw me off because I'm not used to people being so overt when they don't like something. And, you know, I didn't get up, excuse me, I didn't move, but it made me very aware that I have to just be really light-handed with this and other fragrances that can project. So Loukhoum by Kiko Macheri, I love it, but it can be a challenge for some other people. So yeah. All right, next up is something that is unisex. This is Azemour Les Oranges, and I am not pronouncing that perfectly correctly. That's close to how do you say this, but this is unisex. This is Clementine, you know, your basic orange. It has some floral, but it also has hay moss, it has oak moss, it has henna. And I was realizing that those latter notes are the notes that are kind of throwing me off, that makes this a little bit difficult for me to wear unless I mix it with something else. So I mixed this with Malibu Lemon Blossom by Pacifica. I have run out of that, but it's a very, very gentle citrus, really kind of lightly sweet, and it tempers the bitterness in this particular perfume. I can't wear this by itself. I have seen some reviews where men like this a lot and they wear it on its own. I could see a guy doing this, you know, just on its own. I can't because it's not feminine enough for me just to wear, you know, alone, but I do have to mix it. So this is a little bit, this is something I have to work with. I'm glad that I have it, and it's one of those things that I need to experience and try different notes, but I do have to mix this with something else for this to work for me. But this is not going to be offensive to anybody. This is not going to be a challenge for anybody else. Just, it's a challenge for me because I'm not that crazy about it, and I'm not used to those particular notes. So, Azemour Les Oranges, or however you say it. Yeah, it's orange. All right. Next up. This one, okay, I won't necessarily call it a challenge. I don't go for it that much because I'm not used to some of the notes in this. This is Annick Goutal Vanille Exquise. And when I first bought it, smell unseen, or, you know, sight unseen, hadn't smelled it before, I was thinking it was kind of a gourmand. This is not that. It's a powdery vanilla. It can be considered a cozy vanilla, but it's not really sweet. It's a little bit Play-Doh-y. It can be, I've read, even though I don't agree with this, like a little bit smoky. I don't get the smoke in this, but it's musky and it has some woods in it, like Gaiac wood, but this is not what I would expect from a vanilla at all. It is refined. I don't think it would offend anyone, but at the same time, I have an issue just freely spraying this and pulling this out because I always have to mix it. So at this juncture, I mix it with Vanillery by Lush, and then they work really well together because the vanilla from Lush, it's rich, it's pretty sweet. It has a bit of a smokiness to it, just like the slightest, because I'm not into smoky notes, but it melds with this like really well and kind of turns this into what I initially kind of wanted it to be. So this one, challenge number, what number is this? Number 4. This can be a little bit of a challenge for me, but as I mix it and play with it, I'm learning to like it a lot more. So Annick Goutal Vanille Exquise. All right, two more over here. This was the catalyst for this video. This is Shaghaf Oud from Swiss Arabian. This one, the oud is predominant. It is a lot to deal with. There's saffron, there's praline, there's vanilla. I will say that I wasn't as descriptive with what I feel oud smells like and why it's a bit of a turn off for me. To me, how do I say this without dissuading anybody from getting this? I have been to Egypt and have walked through a market in the summertime. And that first hit out of the bottle kind of reminds me of that. Like a little bit of body odor, heat, spices, some hay. It's a lot. And when I say body odor, it's a pungency, but it doesn't last very long. It's like a quick couple seconds where you're hit with it right out the bottle. And that is what threw me. And I said, I really don't know if I can work with this, but I have been wearing it, and the dry down, as some people commented to me, it is very pretty. The dry down is pretty. Right out the bottle, those initial sprays, that initial hit for you, for me, it's a lot. And I absolutely wouldn't even test this at work, on the metro, in the library, at the grocery store, any closed space, not ever. I don't care if I grow to love this with all my heart. I will never wear this in like a closed space, because I know this is gonna be a challenge for people who are not used to fragrances that are not, you know, completely westernized, or, you know, just basic American fragrances. This would be a little bit difficult for some people to have to be exposed to. So, Shaghaf Oud from Swiss Arabian. I enjoy it. I like trying new things. I do really like this, but this is something that I will have to just be very careful about in terms of where I wear it. All right. Last one here. I know a lot of you guys are familiar with Girl of Now. It's an issue for me. It's too sweet. It's too cloying. I never thought I would say a perfume is too sweet. This is too much for me. There's a pistachio note, an almond milk note, and I do believe those together, even with the vanilla, amber, and other really pretty notes in here, and I'll list all the notes for these. It's cloying. That's the only term that I can use for this that really gets on what this is for me. It's difficult. And I haven't used it that much, and the beauty of the bottle was one of the things that pulled me in. But unfortunately, it's hard for me. The dry down is pretty, and I don't think this would offend anybody at all. It might be a little bit too sweet, but I don't know about this one. I just gotta keep messing with it. Gotta keep messing with it. But this is one of my little difficulties in my perfume collection in terms of it being wearable for me. So yeah, just wanted to hit on that. And you guys, you know, we love perfume, but think about things that you can layer your perfumes with to tone them down, or to amp them up, or to just smooth out some of the notes that might be a little bit difficult for you. But also think about the people that we come into contact with, how it might be for them. You know, is it a little too strong for them? Is it something they might not be used to? So let's just, you know, think about other folks, because I'm tired of getting embarrassed. You know, I don't want to get embarrassed anymore because my fragrances are too strong. So I got to keep that in mind. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will check you in the next video. Bye.